everyone, it is Tuesday, November 10th. The time is 1:25 p.m. and the temperature is around 19 degrees Celsius. This is the TTC Lawrence subway station here in the Yonge Lawrence and Bedford Park neighborhood. I'm just making my way out to Lawrence Avenue right now. And the plan for this walk is to head north through the Bedford Park neighborhood. And that'll be along Yonge Street. I will briefly pass through some residential streets. And then once I'm out of Bedford Park, I will head into a rather exclusive area known as Hoggs Hollow. Let me just take off my mask. This is Lawrence Avenue East. And across the street there is the Lock branch of the Toronto Public Library. I'm currently looking south. And that library is notable for being the first public library opened after the Great Depression. And that dates back to 1949. And that's a look down Lawrence Avenue West. And now I'm currently heading north on Yonge Street. This is certainly a very summer-esque kind of day. I am wearing a hoodie, but I've rolled my sleeves up. You see it's going to be good weather on the forecast, but given that we're well into November now, you don't quite believe it. But it certainly would be inappropriate to be in shorts and a t-shirt right now. And that station I exited from opened in 1973. And of the 75 subway stations in Toronto, it is the 43rd busiest. Just to the south of here is the Midtown Toronto area and the Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood, which is rather high density. Although Yonge and Lawrence, where I am now, is mostly low-rise and single-family detached homes, although there are some small apartment buildings along Yonge Street, such as these ones. In addition to being known as Yonge and Lawrence, this is also an area known as Bedford Park. This would be the eastern end of Bedford Park. The western end would be over on Avenue Road. So essentially it's flanked by two retail-filled streets on either end. And this is considered to be one of Toronto's wealthiest neighborhoods. I think about a week and a half ago I did a live stream through this neighborhood at night. And there were some requests to head through Hoggs Hollow, through some of the nicer residential streets there, so I will pass through those as I make my way to York Mills Station. According to the sign right there, this is Yonge Lawrence Village. I'm not sure if I zoomed in on that correctly. Probably not. I'm still very new at using this camera. I'm also trying a new audio setup on this walk, as this camera has 4 built-in microphones and the ability to record in stereo, but its big downfall is that it kind of sucks in any type of wind condition. So I fitted 4 wind muffs, one over each of the microphones. Although it's not that windy of a day, so this is probably not a good test. I'm also recording this on an external microphone, so whichever one turns out best is probably what I'll use. There's a little small patio set up at Gabby's. Restaurants and bars do have to wait till the 14th of November until they can serve dine-in customers again. We're almost there. It says 19 on my phone, but it feels more like mid-20s. This is pretty hot. This Dollarama used to be a PJ's pet store. And this area was originally a farming hamlet. And then it was later developed into a middle-class suburban neighborhood. Most of the homes down these residential streets were built in the late 1800s to the 1940s at some time, or some point in time. Although, of course, if you were to take a stroll down one of the streets, you'll notice there's been quite a bit of extensive renovating going on, and even tear downs and complete rebuilds. What I'll do is I'll turn right down a street called Teddington Park. We'll take a quick tour of the residential area. I think that's actually east of Bedford Park, but it would still be in the Yonge Lawrence Village. I'll Although, to be honest, I don't think people often refer to this as Yonge Lawrence Village. And I'm starting to think I have tilt lock enabled on my phone, as when or on my camera, when I tilt it up, the horizon level doesn't change. That's okay. Maybe that'll make things a bit more stable and have less of that up and down movement. There we go, I can manually control the horizon level with the stick now anyways. So this is Teddington Park Avenue. So I will head east for a block and we'll check out some of the residential homes. I was kind of wondering why, when I was climbing out of the subway station, when I looked up with the camera, the view didn't seem to move up. And unfortunately, that's not something I can set up unless I plug the camera into my phone and change that setting. Actually, that's not true. That's true of my Osmo Mobile 3 gimbal. Yeah, it's not letting me access the settings right now to fix that. And this is Bocastle Avenue. I'll be turning north here. And this is Glen Drive. So I'm now heading west back towards Yonge Street. There's a look down Donwoods Drive. It says there's no access to Yonge Street from there. And now we're walking into some wind. And the sun. Nice. And it's north on Yonge Street. So this would pretty much be the end of the Yonge Lawrence Village, as well as Bedford Park. Way off into the distance there is the intersection of Yonge and Shepherd, just beyond Highway 401. And this street I'm heading, or this part of the street I'm heading down, is affectionately known as Hoggs Hill. And if you're a cyclist, you know it as one of the hardest uphill climbs you can make in the city. I've recorded a few rides on my single speed where I've come up this. I'm not sure if the camera does this justice, but that's a heck of a drop. This is Donwoods Drive, which is part of the Hoggs Hollow neighborhood where I'm heading right now. I'll be turning right down the next street. And then I'll eventually loop back out to Yonge Street and just head down to Yonge Station to finish this. This is Ivor Road. I'll be turning down. And conveniently, there's no sidewalks. So maybe it's best to walk towards oncoming traffic. Sorry, I've got to manually adjust the height here, which makes filming this particular neighborhood a bit of a challenge since it's rather hilly. Let's see if I can make it through here without getting lost. I can't say I'm too fond of these neighborhoods without sidewalks. And I wouldn't even want to guess what the cost of most of these homes are. I would say well north of $5 million in most cases. Kind of a funky elevated design on that one. I think I want to go the other way, but just want to take a peek around the corner. at some of these homes before I do that. Well, that one road was closed, and I know when you get too deep into this neighborhood, there's no way out but to turn around and go back. That's one of the reasons why there's so few traffic passing through here. I believe this area didn't start developing into a residential area until the 1920s sometime. And I remember reading that a lot of these lots were modeled after the English countryside. Perhaps I could have turned left into that park there. And I think this is Mill Street straight ahead, so this will take me out to the Miller Tavern, which is an old tavern that dates back to the mid-1800s. It was closed for a while, but it recently reopened in 2004. Just stay well off to the side of this stuff here. I know this park and the one across the street have different names. I was just looking to see if I could distinguish which is which. But rather than head out to Yonge Street, maybe I'll just continue on through this park. This should take me down to York Mills Road, or very near. So the Miller Tavern should be somewhere over there. Sorry if I alluded to it and didn't actually walk by it. I did pass it on the live stream I did not too long ago. Even though I don't live too far from here, this is never a park I've actually walked through before. And I'm certainly overdressed for it. I think that's the Shell station where I usually refill the car after I rent one, right before I return it. And just past that will be the intersection of Yonge and York Mills. Well, to the east of Yonge will be York Mills Avenue, and to the west of Yonge will be Wilson Avenue. And if you were to continue west along Wilson, you'll find Wilson Station, which serves the other end of the Line 1 of the Line 1. I like how I say it like that. And this here, I believe, is the southern entrance to York Mills subway. That's no fun. I'll walk out to Yonge and cross through the York Mills Corporate Center, and we'll enter it over there. That's also very near where I did that tunnel run on one of my live streams. That's more of Hoggs Hollow over there to the east. So I'm hoping I can use the audio from the camera on this walk. That would certainly be kind of neat, as I think having stereo sound will be an added benefit, especially to people that wear headphones or have a proper stereo setup at their computer or TV, wherever they watch from. Because right now you should be hearing traffic to the left and the hum of the car wash to the right. And I've got 20 seconds. Let's go for it. I'll test the stability while I run. Let's look down York Mills. Let's look down Wilson Avenue. I do not want to be on my single speed marching up that hill. And it's 2 p.m. on a weekday afternoon. Once upon a time, I used to work over in that building over there. Maybe I can zoom in on it. And when I was feeling fancy and wanted something other than Tim Hortons, I would come to this Starbucks. There's also a not very good food court in here. Let's head into the York Mills Center and then down into the subway station. I do have my mask on, in case you're wondering. And here's where I had trouble coming out of Lawrence Station. I have to push the camera down with the stick there instead of just angling the whole thing down. And I'll have to tilt it back up as I get towards the bottom. This is certainly annoying and creating extra work. Based on how busy the platform is, I would guess the next train will be here soon. I'm just going southbound for a few stops down to Yonge and Eglinton. Here we go. Alright, well, thanks for watching this walk through the Yonge Lawrence Village, otherwise known as Bedford Park, and Hoggs Hollow. There are links to my Instagram and Patreon accounts in the description.
Please stand clear of the doors.
As well as channel memberships available on the main page. Alright, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.